and the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Hello and welcome. It's that special time of the week. It's all about dating here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio and social media. I am your host and executive producer. I am a certified life and career coach. And with me today is my co-host, Lisa Manyoky. Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great. Thank you. I'm excited that we're here today to talk about something that I'm sure is near and dear to many people, because it doesn't apply just personally, but also applies professionally, and that's online profiles. But before we start, tell us about you, Lisa. You are the founder of Presence Intelligence.
I am. You know, it's something that I think everybody needs to know. So if you don't know what happens when you walk into a room, you need to find out. And even if and you have to change something, if whatever's happening when you walk into that room is not working for you, then whatever it is you decide to change can include changing the room. So, you want to go where you're wanted and where you're loved and where people appreciate you for who you are, not tolerate you despite who you are, So I've made a professional focus, and when it comes to dating, I can't tell you enough how important it is to be present, but also to have a good presence. Show up who you are, because the real you shows up anyway. When I had a radio show years ago with a colleague of mine, we always used to say, make sure that the real you shows up the first time around, because he or she is going to show up ultimately anyway. Little tactical camouflage is not sustainable.
I love that, Lisa. And when did you first start to get interested in presence? Has it been something that you've been pretty much focused on most of your life, or it's innate?
My degree is in graphic design and marketing. So I was accustomed to making products and services look good. But it turned out that no matter how good I made a product and service look, if the people behind it were not getting along, or if the teams were dysfunctional, then it was a matter of time before that business or imploded, or that the products didn't thrive. So I turned my attention toward the people part, but it was really after I got divorced when I became certified in life coaching, executive coaching, neuroscience coaching, and a bunch of different disciplines that collectively talk about emotional intelligence and social intelligence. But I found that many of them incorporated a piece of what's important to better relate to others, but didn't weight aesthetics nearly as much, or the fact that there was a hybrid of qualities that make you who you are. In order for you to put your best foot forward, the only person who can figure out who you are is you. But it's hard to do when there's a lot of noise from maybe family members who don't support you, or relationships that went south. I mean, they all contribute to what we become, but we're the ultimate decision makers. So after lots of studies, I developed my own initiative, which addresses 9 different areas of life that will shape how you are received by others and perceived. And I dubbed it Presence Intelligence, because the more intelligent you are about what you put out there, the better chance you have of finding the people who fit you and for whom you fit. And when that happens, then you're happier, and your performance is better, and your life is richer, and it's a much better way of moving through the day, I think. Don't you?
Yes, I definitely agree with you. What are you finding? And this really applies to dating, so that's why I'm setting this foundation with you. What are you finding in terms of people and their awareness of their own presence in terms of how people are perceiving them?
Well, first of all, if you're online dating, your dating profile is the first peek somebody gets at you. I mean, that's it. They're looking at a picture. I remember getting into a really heated debate with a gentleman who had a lot of debris around him, piles and piles of books and magazines and boxes. And I thought, wow, that is not a guy I could ever live with. Not just one picture, but several. And I was trying to be polite and say, hey, I don't think we're a fit. And then ultimately he got so pushy. So I said, listen, I think there's a lifestyle difference between you and me. Looks like you don't mind a lot of congestion around you. And I called it congestion, not clutter. And he ended up calling me judgmental, this and that. And I thought, listen, bud, this is the only picture I have of you. And it looks like you're a hoarder. But he told me that he was renovating his kitchen and that all these boxes were just spillover from other rooms. Do I know that? No. Every picture he shows, there's different rooms filled with boxes and debris. So what do I know? I mean, this is who this guy is, and he's not somebody whose house I would ever want to spend a lot of time in. So,
that also, I think that's a great point. It's also the same thing when we're on Zoom calls. Some people, the background that they have, and I get it, maybe you're in a small space and other people are there, but for the purpose of your presence and how people will perceive you, it might make sense to tidy up, to move some things around if it's at all possible.
Oh, the information behind you says an awful lot. Color schemes. I mean, this is my office. This is where I spend a lot of time. So you can tell I read a lot. I have one plant because I don't like to take care of them. There's a lot of lettering behind me, which speaks to my past. I taught typography and lettering, did a lot of lettering earlier in my career. So there's pieces of my life that I would be willing to explain and share with somebody. But if I had boxes and piles of magazine and book titles that I didn't want anybody to know I read, well, then that would be my fault for including them. So.
Good point. And I've got this handy green screen that's the size of a mountain here, and all these lights and everything. It's pretty cool. So let's talk about your online profile. And I think this is important, even if it's for business, if it's LinkedIn.
Absolutely.
So one thing that I've been told myself, and I've been working on this, is to have consistent branding. And I think that applies even when you're putting your online profiles on dating sites. So if you're on more than one site, do you want to have the same profile? Does it depend who the audience is? Because I know there's some websites that are for really meet and greet, and then there's some that are for longer term relationships, right? Bumble, Tinder versus Match.com.
Well, on your business site, you might not want to include you doing shots down the bar. Okay. So, and I remember one guy, he had a picture of him. It was this big contraption set up where his mouth was at the end of this very long table and people were just pouring alcohol down it. And I thought, wow, yeah, can't wait to meet you. But, shots like that for a LinkedIn profile or a professional shot are not relevant unless you're a joker and unless you're going to make a career of that. But for your dating site, if your dating profile should really reflect who you are, there should be a cross section. Some people put those, business, the old, the grip and grins where they look like they're a politician or they just had their boardroom shots. Those types of things tend to be a little staid. I mean, they're staged. They're not always comfortable, and not everybody dresses like that every day. It's fine to include one. And I have seen some people say, my token business shot, which is fine, but include things that reflect your personality. If you're a hiker, show yourself in a backpack on the side of a mountain. If you're an artist, canvas in hand and behind you and paintbrush in hand. So give through the pictures information about who you are and what you like so that others, if they don't read the profile, at a minimum, are looking at your pictures and getting a snapshot of the scope of who you are.
Really good points. I just want to let our audience know we'd love to hear from them, by the way. So if you want to call in, Chris is sitting there, Business Talk Radio on Long Island, and he's ready to take calls and patch you through. The number is 631-438-1109. And of course, we are live streaming on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch TV. It's all about dating. Lisa, we're going to take a quick break and hear from some of our sponsors. But when we come back, you had your own radio show for a couple of years, and you actually talked specifically on the whole topic of dating. And it's more involved than what we might think. There's a number of topics that really come under the umbrella of dating. So let's hear about that when we come back. All right?
Okay.
All right. Stay with us here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn, live on Business Talk Radio and social media.
Hey everybody, my name is Ralph Graves Jr. I'm the host of the Ralph Graves Jr. Show, and I want to invite you to pick up my book, Unstoppable. I wrote a book called Unstoppable. It's 7 universal laws that will transform how you pursue and achieve success. The one thing that my 20 years of law enforcement has taught me is that no matter who you are, we are all governed by universal laws, like gravity. But in this book, we're going to talk about laws like the law of forgiveness, laws like the law of control, the law of intelligent practice, the law of expectancy. I was able to see how those, no matter what their background was, those who identified and treated these laws with respect, they were able to go on and lead successful lives. So pick up this book, and you can go ahead and pick it up at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, RalphGravesJr.com, where anywhere where fine books are sold. Thank you.
There are 7.7 billion people on Earth today. 40% of these people are under the age of 25. Young adults are the most fertile mission field in the world today. In Scripture, we see Jesus pouring his life into 12 young adults who he equipped to change the world and all of history. Like Jesus, we believe that the best approach to reach the world with the gospel is to invest in young, emerging leaders and equip them to build disciple-making movements. Concentric is the notion of surrounding and sharing a common center. Our center is the model and strategy of Jesus for both leadership development and ministry formation. As a global alliance, we provide equipping in biblical leadership based on Jesus' example in the New Testament. Jesus modeled for us how to make disciples that reproduce. Focusing on leadership development is key to creating movements that spread the gospel and Jesus' disciple-making strategy to young leaders around the globe. Our Ministry Alliance partners are actively equipping leaders and building movements of multiplication that reproduce the life of Christ. Join us today to equip young leaders with Jesus' strategy that will change cities and nations.
The session that we had with BCAT was really entertaining and enlightening. We were able to put together some very specific steps that we as individuals can take, and it was really fun to all come together and see sort of where we're going as a team and how we can all get there together.
We had a tremendous experience with the BCAP partners. One of the challenges that we have as an organization is to make sure that we have the right people in the right chairs doing the right thing. To do that well, you have to have synergy. You can try to dream up ways to make sure that your group does that, or you can rely on experts. We would recommend BCAP partners to anybody who's looking to take their organization to the next level.
Academy Sedan and Limo is a full-service transportation company serving the Philadelphia metropolitan area with full knowledge of the New York City, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C. areas. We pride ourselves on being the most dependable, conscientious company in the industry. Our always on-time service and dependable pricing make us the company to call for any event or occasion. Our vehicles can accommodate any size party for any occasion. Our vehicles range from four-door sedans to SUVs to minivans to limo buses to full-size tour buses and can accommodate groups of 2 to 100. We offer airport shuttle service or over-the-road service without limitation regarding mileage or time, and no drive is too long or too far. So if you find yourself in need of transportation of any type with any vehicle, give us a call at 610-842-4564 and let us show you what a real transportation company can do for you.
Use code ACADEMY2020 to receive 20% off your first 3 rides, including parking and tolls.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating. Lisa, I was so into the limousine commercial. I was going to bring us back. I was like, wow, it'd be great to be in a limousine again. Wouldn't it go someplace special?
Anywhere, go anywhere we can.
Yes, I want to say hi to our friend Elise Bankard. She is watching the program. Hi, Elise. Hope things are going well in New York. So where were we? We were talking about online profiles.
Profiles, or any profile. You know, hey, you should always make sure that whatever you put out there, you wouldn't mind if you were going to run for mayor someday.
That's true. It's a very good point.
Or in front of a judge. I remember somebody said, make sure you don't put anything out there that you wouldn't want a judge to see. And I thought, oh, okay, fair enough. But somebody will get a screenshot of something if you put it out there. And they'll be really hard to find it, right?
Yes, that's for sure. Yeah. So what are some of the tips and tricks that you would educate people on when you had your radio show?
Yeah, well, this was with my colleague and friend Cheryl down in North Carolina. And I joined a bunch of dating sites, and then we followed my travels. We both took training and relationship coaching for singles, which I did not pursue professionally, but she did. But we learned an awful lot. First of all, the readiness feature, which we've discussed on the show before, it's a really good idea to make sure that you have all your personal and financial and legal ducks in a row before you head out into the dating world. Now, that doesn't mean you can't recreationally date and run into people where you can keep each other's company and start to explore what it is you like, who you like, as long as you're transparent about the fact that you have a few things and loose ends that you need to tie up. But in terms of what you put out there, the best thing you can do is, as trite and cliche as it sounds, is to be whoever you are. So that means no tactics. If you wear makeup, wear makeup. If you don't wear makeup, don't suddenly feel as if you need to embellish and highlight things that 2 months from now you're not going to do. And then the individual with whom you're spending time says, oh, that's not the person who I met in the beginning. Maybe he or she got complacent or slacked off. I mean, have you ever run into that?
I definitely have. And I'm starting to laugh back here because you think about things when you were younger and then you think about them today. And in my history of dating, I've had several men who have asked to see me without my makeup. I really like to see what you look like without your makeup. And at first, the first time I was asked that, I felt a little whatever. And so I'm like, yeah, the next time I'll see you, I won't have any makeup on. Yeah, I did.
And?
They still liked me.
Exactly. Well, you're a pretty woman. I mean.
Well, thank you. I like makeup, though. I like wearing makeup. And from most of the men, including my father, who's deceased, they don't like a lot of makeup on women.
They like the woman. Well, and think about it. I mean, if you get to the point where you're waking up next to that person, you don't want there to be two different individuals, the one after they're in their makeup and the one before. If it's the big discrepancy, it could be disarming, right?
That's true. I saw a special, I don't know if it was Dateline, it was one of those shows where this woman was so consumed with how she looked that she wore her makeup 24/7. So she was married. You saw that?
What a lot of pressure.
Oh my gosh, so much work.
Yeah.
At that point, if that's how I really felt, I'd be like, I really care about you, but I'm going to sleep in another room, or make up some other thing where you're not focused 24/7 on how your makeup looks, because it's not good for your skin anyway.
No, and it's just a lot of work. I mean, listen, if you can't relax and be comfortable within your own skin, then you're going to make it hard for others to do that too.
That's true.
Right.
That's true. So what other tips do you have?
Well, the number of photos, I know that on online dating sites, when you put 30 photos or 20, that's an awful lot of photos. You maybe need 5 or 6 that show a sort of a spectrum about you. One photo, it's not enough. And I've heard this plenty from gentlemen, and I know women feel the same as well. It's not just a guy thing. Put a full body shot in there. And it's not because they're trying to make sure that you're a size 4 or that you have a certain height. But personally, I get a lot of information from stature. So how you carry yourself. Are you a sloucher? Are you confident? There's an awful lot that posture can tell about an individual in a number of different ways. Also, aesthetics, there are some people who just don't like certain shapes and some people who do. And that doesn't mean that it has to meet certain size and weight criteria. I mean, I know some people who prefer a bigger personality and others who don't like really skinny people. It's all subjective. So at least give someone who's viewing you the best chance to see who you really are. So there's no surprise. And what they see, they really like, and you have a better chance of starting off on a more honest foot.
Very good point. Let's talk about the pictures. When I was on Match.com, I noticed that a number of men, I'm sure women probably do this too, they put pictures of scenes. So it's the ocean, and they're not in the picture. It's a river. What is the purpose of that?
I don't know. If you're going to put scenery in there, make sure you're in it. You know, you're in the backpack with the mountains behind you, or you're before the Eiffel Tower, you know, whatever it is. If you're a European traveler, then show yourself in the landscape. There's no reason not to put yourself in a picture. You can always have somebody else take it. And of course, if you want to do a selfie, it's doable.
Yes. There's some thought process as to why people do that. I don't know what it is. Maybe if you have a relationship with them, you'll be in that sunset behind you, or you'll go to that beach.
I don't know. They want to meet the person. They're not going to date the sunset. So, right?
Exactly.
I don't get it.
By the way, the number to call in again, we really want to hear from you. Every show, I'm going to say this. Will someone out there call in and let us know that you're listening? 631-438-1109. I'm going to flash it across the screen too for those of you on social media. So the pictures, okay, they're important. Full body shot. Now, full body shot, bathing suit, gym clothes, ball gown.
If you want, you know, I personally, I don't think they're necessary. Lingerie, no. The muscle, you know, the bicep shots, Sean, I could do with that. Any guy that puts a picture of him lifting weights, okay, you know, I can lift weights too, but I don't understand. That's just, so what? So you have biceps.
I love that.
Doesn't matter to me, but for the woman who likes to see the side of a bicep, then cool. It's not my thing.
I'm bringing up this picture. We've had this on other shows, but this has been a topic. It's not showing for some reason.
The fish.
You do?
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, there it is, the fish picture. So this is not a great photo to have on your bio, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
And let's say you are into fishing, right? I mean, do you want your man to be, you know, making out with the fish? I don't know.
Or the fish on a hook, you know. I mean, there's plenty of fish, so you know, you stand there with the fish hanging and be bleeding at the mouth. It's just not. It's not unless you're looking for a woman who fishes. Cool,
right?
That's good
right.
too.
And by the way, I just have to bring this one up again, just because. So, just you know. This is not a good profile picture, guys. So we had this on The Art of Kissing. We had that show a few weeks ago. That show was so funny.
No, but the skin shots, they're not really necessary. I don't think they are. And again, you know, do you want somebody to take a snapshot of that up the road and show it? You know, as far as cleavage and groins. I don't know.
Groins.
I've seen the low belts. You know, I've seen a few of these come across where they're the top button of the jeans is unbuttoned, and you know, you're starting to get the little pelvic. Come on, guys.
What site were you on for that, Lisa?
It wasn't a site that I was on. I just have seen these pictures because when we did the radio show, we had samples of things that had come across the wires, and
so funny.
Okay, that one could go away. But I have seen them.
That's really funny. And what about having a professional shot, what's it called? A photo shoot, professional photo shoot. Is that necessary?
It's nice to do, but again, if I have a photo shoot, I want to have a glass of wine beforehand so I can relax, because usually photo shoots, unless you're Kapu, who watches sometimes, Kapu Patel, she is somebody who can make you feel really natural when you're getting a headshot done and it doesn't look terribly posed. But look, if you're hosting a party, or if you're doing something that you really love, chances are a professional photographer is not going to be nearby. It's better for you to give a scope of who you are instead of worrying about, are you aesthetically perfected for this presentation? Somebody's not going to see you looking all preened and beautified all the time. So show them who you are, right?
I think that's a great point, because, and when I was younger, I didn't necessarily believe this as much as today, but you want somebody who really cares about who you are as a person, not what you want people to think you are, right?
Right.
And I think that goes back to presence.
It does. It does. And the more comfortable you are in your own skin, the easier you make others to be comfortable with you as well. So I remember this one girl, she had been in a fire and she was really badly burned, like from here down, and you could see her scars. That girl wore sleeveless shirts, and I mean, she obviously had been healed, but as in terms of they weren't fresh wounds, but she carried herself with such poise and confidence that her scars became irrelevant. And she dated a wonderful man. I'm not sure what ended up, we lost touch, but my point is that was a pretty severe set of conditions that she learned to make peace with, and as a result made it easy for others to be at peace with them when she was together.
I like that. It's almost like if you have psoriasis or you have eczema, whatever it is. I know I've suffered with facial eczema, and I posted pictures of me in the health and wellness group because I thought this is what I have to go through. So if somebody were going to be with me, yeah, you're looking at this sometimes, it's real.
It's real. And, and even some of the most perfect people have flaws that are either well camouflaged. And do not Photoshop out features that you can't erase when you're in person. I've seen that too.
Yes.
Leave the mole in. Unless you're going to have it removed, keep the mole. Don't add hair that you don't have, that you're not going to be able to grow when you show up with somebody.
Really good points.
Yeah.
Really good points. So it's time for us to take another break, and I'm going to put that phone number out there. This is actually a request from our listeners. If you're out there listening, whether you're listening on social media or you're on the radio, please call this number, 631-438-1109. We would love to hear from you here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating. So Lisa, we're going to take a quick break. And then when we come back, we have a lot more to discuss, right?
Okay.
All right. Stay with us.
Have you ever tried to build people into a team? Maybe you've tried bowling, or ziplining, or paintball, or pizza making. These events can be fun, and they can make everybody happy for a while. But in the long run, do they really turn people into a team? Now, imagine the members of your team scattered all over the world, working from trains and airplanes, from remote offices, client locations, or working from home. How do you build a winning team when your playing field might be the entire world? With BCAT, we've created the answer. Working completely online, no matter where your people are, we turn them into an engaged and motivated team in 3 simple steps. First, we use the BCAT survey, which they can take online, anywhere, anytime, to reveal the North Star that represents their shared pride in the work they do. Next, we work with your team's leaders and stakeholders to convert that North Star into a role target, an ideal virtual person who represents your team's best self, living its best day at work. With our internet tools, we hang your North Star high in the sky, where everyone on your team can see it, no matter where in the world they might be. Then we guide and help everyone on your team in creating personal plans to align themselves with your team's North Star. We help each of them develop the positive habits that, day by day, every day, steer them closer to your North Star, aligning themselves with your team's signature dreams and ideals. And over the long haul, we offer programs and coaching techniques that help them stick to their plans. Remote team building isn't hard, it doesn't take long, and it's just as much fun as pizzas and paintball. You build winning teams around a purpose, not a place. BCAT is the answer.
Located at 121 Haddon Avenue in Westmont, New Jersey, is Margie Sedan, artisan jeweler. Margie's been in business for more than 30 years. She works with her clients to create custom pieces of jewelry to reflect their personality and help them make their own bold statement. Starting in the renowned Jewelers Row in Center City, Philadelphia in 1988, Margie works directly with her clients to develop one-of-a-kind pieces such as necklaces, engagement rings, wedding bands, unique watches and tennis bracelets, as well as a myriad of rings and earrings for everyone in your family. She also has worked directly with Dr. Jacalyn over the years, creating unique pieces of jewelry to reflect her personality. She does pearl stringing and repairs on site at 121 Haddon Avenue. Call or text Margie at 215-384-7155. Margie Sedan Jewelry is open by appointment only. Make your own bold statement.
My stomach issues make me want to stay home, but that's not an option. No matter how prepared I am, I still feel nervous. Enough is enough.
If this sounds familiar, the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation can offer you support and connect you with a specialist.
Don't keep your symptoms to yourself. Get help at spillyourguts.org today.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet, and the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Today's show is sponsored by Dr. Jacalyn. Take charge of your life personally, financially, and professionally. Visit drjacalyn.com to book an appointment today.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn. It's all about dating, live here on Business Talk Radio and social media. With me today is my co-host, Lisa Manyoky. She is the founder of Presence Intelligence. Welcome back.
Hey, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Good. Actually, I'm having a hot flash. I can feel it. So that's something that I would say to somebody, hey, listen, I'm not melting, but I can feel my cheeks feel like they're on fire.
I have that a lot too, especially underneath all these. Yeah, it's just being real. It's the way it is.
Exactly. So that kind of transparency looks good on people.
Right. And while we're being transparent, my mouse was a little stuck today, so I was a little off coming back from the break. I was like, what's going on with you, mouse? I'm clicking the button, but we're not coming back to the show. So, but anyway, I wanted to talk to you about Presence Intelligence. You have an alignment inventory. Isn't that correct?
So I found that when it comes to personal presence, some of us are just simply more self-aware than others. I've also found that even the older I get, the less I care about, well, I shouldn't say that I don't care. I mean, I care about how I look, but I'm much more honest to say, hey, I'm 58 years old, gravity wins. I'm going to fight it kicking and screaming, but I don't look the way I did, 25 years ago. There are a few flaws. So they're there and they're not going to go away because I'm only going to get older. So over the years, I've worked with personal presence, and that's not wardrobe, or that's stylist. So I don't work necessarily and say, hey, listen, let's put you in a great suit or a beautiful dress, because clothes don't make the man. They just make the man look good, or they don't make a woman perfect. They just make her look pretty. So I have this inventory that I've developed. It's an interactive tool. It's available online. And if somebody takes it, it does show areas of strength and weaknesses in 9 different areas of life that will affect how you show up in any interaction, whether it's personal or professional, intimate, acquaintance, whatever, any interactive in exchange. So, for example, how well do you speak, or how do you speak, even if it's not well? How do you write? What is your appearance like? And the questions are about your feelings on them. Do you have people in your life who like who you are? So there's a people part of it. There's a section on how you interact and relate with others. There's one on finances, because take, for example, a person who's in debt is going to act very differently than a person who is not. Or a person who has lots of money might be reluctant to share their income status with somebody for fear that they're getting involved with a person who's looking for their wallet or their bank account. So this inventory shows you areas of strength and areas of weakness, so that together we'll make peace with the ones that you can't change. For example, if you really hate the shape of your nose, but you're not willing to get plastic surgery to fix it, then that's a fixed part of you that we're going to make peace with, and we're going to learn to say, hey, listen, this is my nose. I don't necessarily love it, but I love these other things about me more, and let them drive your show. So it's a matter of strengthening your natural assets to neutralize the ones that are not so strong, and then drawing from your best resources so that you're a happier person, because happy people are infectious. Everybody wants to go to the good party. They want to be around the happy people because they draw from them. So this inventory, it's $497 where you take it, you get a plotted result, and then you get an hour with me to talk about it. So far, it's been really informative for people.
An hour with Coach Lisa. That's phenomenal. Imagine what you can learn during that hour.
There's a lot, and because it's confidential, and because you're the only person who can answer these questions. I'm not a judge or jury. It's not judgmental for me. I'm more like a mirror in this case, and I care. So I know what it's like to not feel your best. And when I was younger, I always had this great desire to have really long hair. I don't look good in long hair because my hair is crappy. So it took me a while to find my cut, but so many people were, oh, it's a really good cut on you. And it wasn't until other people kept responding that I thought, okay, it's okay as it is. But for me, in this dynamic and this dialogue that I have with clients, it's a kind one, and I like to support and cheer. So
you are a great cheerleader. You really are. By the way, I wanted to tell you, thank you for the introduction to Kapu, because I had a call with her.
You did.
She's fabulous. I'm going to have a headshot done, and as soon as we get out of this COVID thing, I'm going to redo my branding with her.
Well, she's great. And I think I've mentioned on, maybe it wasn't on this show, but another, that the first time I worked with her was the morning I found out my mom had passed away. And I said, your assignment is to make it look as if I didn't just find out my mom died. And the branding shots do not. I look pretty happy. So she's very talented. She's also really nice.
Really nice. It was very nice of you to introduce me to her. So thank you.
Great. Wow. Plugs for Kapu. She's good.
She is good. So speaking about that, what about making a recommendation for an introduction to somebody in your network for a date? What do you think about that?
I've never had that go successfully. I always think, what were you thinking? What made you think we'd get along? But you never know. Listen, you get to a point where if you don't want to do online, then use referrals. If you go to a business thing, maybe you'll meet somebody at a business thing. Is it worth it? Sure, give it a whirl, but make no promises, and make certain that you don't owe anybody anything. The only problem with, if it's somebody you know, you would hope that oh, how was it? Oh, what do you mean you don't like them? You don't want to be judged or let a meet that didn't go so well interfere with a good friendship that you already have. You know what I mean?
Sure. Right. Because that friendship could definitely be in jeopardy if they think very highly of the person and you just didn't feel that connection.
Right. No, it's nice if you say, hey, listen, meet so-and-so. Hey, if it works out, great. If it doesn't, no big deal. That's nice because you've given that person freedom of choice without feeling obliged to do one thing or another. I mean, I've had it happen and it didn't. They saw something different than I did. In a big way.
I've had that happen too. So.
Did it work?
No, it didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work.
We can be one of the things we learned in the relationship dating program was to be the chooser. And I had written some information later. I thought, if I go to the grocery store and I say, here's my grocery list, this is what I want. Instead of waiting to be chosen, well, I get to choose. So what kind of person do I want? Do I want somebody who's more like me or more not like me? Am I looking for a dating adventure where I need to do some new things, or am I looking to settle in? I get to decide that. You get to decide that. So being the chooser was really good advice.
I think that's a good tagline too, being the chooser.
Yeah, it was with Relationship Coaching Institute, and they are an organization that is still in the mix. Their program is extremely robust. It's a coaching program that teaches relationship coaches how to coach their clients. I know that Cheryl Spangler is involved with it to this date. She's a matchmaker down in North Carolina. It's for me, it was more personally beneficial than professional, but be the chooser is the one statement that I remember still as being extremely powerful.
Cheryl was a terrific guest. We should have her back on.
She loved that.
Yeah.
And her husband coaches with men on separation and divorce. So he might be an interesting guest because, one of the challenges of dating is bringing your past into a new relationship. So when we talk about readiness and making certain that old loose ends are tied up and resolve old business before new, he might be have some insights of how to put the past behind you so that you have a fresh road ahead for a new dating experience.
I think that's really important because having been divorced for a very long time, there is that period of time that you really need to get in tune with yourself and be in touch with who you are, because you're no longer part of that couple, part of that situation, that relationship. And so who are you now? How have you changed and evolved before you get involved with someone else?
Especially for a long marriage. I mean, imagine whether you're not together because of death or divorce or mileage, whatever. What you liked now, chances are it's not what you liked 25 years ago or even sometimes 10 years ago. There are so many factors that can shape who you are in a positive or negative way, but it's good to know what that is now so that you can make better choices.
Absolutely. We are going to take our final break for our show today, and we'll be back to continue our conversation. It's all about dating here on Rapping with Dr. Jacalyn with co-host Lisa Manyoky. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Hi, everyone. I'm Mindy Thomas, founder of Thomas Career Consulting. If you are dealing with the stress of having been terminated or being laid off, considering a career change, or you simply cannot land a job with your current resume, you came to the right place. My professional expertise centers on being trained in two distinct areas: career counseling and career marketing. I am also the host of Career Chat, a weekly talk show which appears on RVN TV. My end game is helping you to overcome the self-doubt, the fear, and the other barriers you are facing right now in a very tricky, perplexing, and complicated job market. .5 seconds. That's how much time it takes a recruiter to scan your resume. On top of that, electronic applicant tracking systems may reject you even if you have the skills, education, and experience. I teach you how to win when you absolutely have to. My resume writing practice is built on a personalized, collaborative, and strategic approach that showcases your accomplishments in a way to get you noticed. At the center of my strategy is identifying your strengths and targeted keywords to make you stand out from the competition. As a professional resume writer, I know what it takes to impress even the most discriminating hiring manager. Changing careers, launching a new one, overwhelmed or stuck in a dead-end job? I have more than 2 decades of experience as a Georgetown-trained leadership coach, resume writer, career counselor, and recruiter. So whether you're a student, a top executive, or simply struggling to find your own career identity and you're feeling lost, you can count on me to lead you through the journey of self-discovery. I will formulate a step-by-step plan that begins with the assessment of your skills, your interests, your values, and your personality, and then explore the opportunities that are best suited to align with you. In essence, what makes sense for you? With 25 years of business experience, I have been privileged to work with a diverse group of adults, from young high school students to the millennials, the generation X, Y, and Z, and boomers. Let me put that to work for you.
I tried to ignore it, but my stomach issues were out of control. I couldn't fix them on my own. It was time to do something. A friend said the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation could help me find a specialist. Feels good to finally have a plan. Don't hide your symptoms. Get help at spillyourguts.org today.
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, the most listened to radio show on the planet. Even the other stations are tuned in too.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back, Lisa.
You know, in this commercial beforehand, we get to see all the different hairdos of Dr. Jacalyn.
I know, it's so funny. I was just thinking, even though I didn't do that ad that long ago, I have to update it. So it's
but it's the same face. You know, you get to see your hair in a bunch of different ways. It looks pretty good.
Thank you. And you know, in Margie Cedrone's commercial, I made that, and there's the picture of my hand with the ring, and my hand looks all red, and I realized because I have Raynaud's. Have you ever heard of that?
Oh, you do?
Yeah, and it was like quite obvious in that picture.
You know what? I didn't notice it. See, now there's a perfect example. What you're very aware of that's an issue for you. People were looking at the ring. It's a commercial.
I'm thinking everyone sees my hands. I have Raynaud's. But you know, it's funny when I watch a show, if I see someone with their hand, I don't have it right now, but if I see someone with their hands like that, I think, oh, circulation problems. They have Raynaud's.
Yep. Tell everybody what that is, because it's a weird disease.
So I don't know the exact terminology or explanation, but it's where your hands and feet, your extremities, they literally go numb because you're not getting enough circulation. So you could be like, I used to practice hot yoga, and it would be 105 degrees, and I couldn't feel my feet.
Did your toes or did your fingers ever get white? Because
yeah, they turn white. Yeah.
Weird.
So, like, for example, if I were to go outside for a walk and it's 30 degrees or 28 degrees and I'm wearing gloves, it's worse than if I didn't have gloves on because my hands have no feeling in them. And then the gloves somehow just make it worse. So, by the way, Chris just posted a message. Chris from Business Talk Radio. He wrote, Lisa, you have to rewatch the show on YouTube to see it. So, attention world, everyone can see my hands. I have circulation problems. Go to YouTube, Dr. Jacalyn LLC.
That's good. It's funny.
That is good. So, yeah, so let's segue back before we end the show, just talking about presence, how presence is important, whether it's an online dating profile, whether it's how you show up in the world, how you show up to a future match. Can you bring us home on that, Lisa?
Look, there's only one you. You're the boss of you, so act like it. You know, you get to choose. You get, and that means that you are the only person who can be clear about what you want. So if you were born into a family where you feel like you don't fit, well, there's the family you get and the family you choose. So you have that option. The more authentic you are, and I know authentic can be one of those funky, coachy type words, but the truth is, the truer you are to who you are and what you like, then the chances that you find others, you'll draw them in that really want to be around you because you are comfortable in your own skin. Those chances increase like 1,000-fold. It's also really stressful to be who you're not. So don't. I mean, that sounds really simple, but the truth is, whoever wakes up in the morning needs to go through the day and meet others and surround themselves with others where most of you shows up. So who brings out your best? And if you're lonely and you're got to have a really small network, then read. There's got to be at least one champion who really thinks you're terrific. If you're really feeling the burn, then I always endorse coaching, because when you get a coach, that person is your champion and who has your best interest at heart and will enable you to get past whatever's in your way so that you can get wherever you want to go, wherever there is. That's your choice. So my best advice is to be who you are and find people who love you for it. And the rest of it will fall into place personally, professionally, socially, and it will be sustainable because it's the true you.
Excellent words of advice. So you have a TV show. We're actually going to a television studio, RVN TV in Cherry Hill. You're on the morning coffee show on Wednesdays with Mark Iorio. Let's talk about presence there when you actually, we're doing a TV show right now, but we're not together. What is there, if any, difference is there in how you show up when you're on a TV set?
Well, first of all, this is my home. So already I'm intimate. This environment for me is familiar. It's comfortable. I can control the temperature. I know what sounds are going on. So that alone is comforting. I've learned now, for those who are in Zoom dialogues, which right now there's a significant part of the population that is, learning to look at the green dot so that you feel as if you're engaged with those on the TV across the screen is really disarming. It's like, it's hard to look at yourself. Going to a TV station, on the other hand, it rattled my cage in the beginning. I'm thinking, this is live. There's no editing out an error. So that was initially really stressful. But what made it easier for me is when I get there, what you see here is what you get there. There's no tactical display of someone else. There's no showmanship. I'm not an actor or actress. This is it there, which made it easy. The thing that made it a little bit weird in the beginning was looking at a camera and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm being filmed live. But now the fact that my co-host, Mark, and we have history, so he's a buddy of mine, there's more of a dialogue going on than me just being a talking head giving instructions. And I like the dialogue approach. We get to talk to some pretty cool people as well, which makes it fun. I mean, I'm socially wired anyway. So in presence circles for me, I enjoy very much the reciprocity of dialogue. I like people. I'm people oriented. You're not going to find me curled up on the weekends reading in corners. So the TV show was just a natural segue. It was more an environmental glitch that made me feel a little ill at ease at first, but I got used to it.
And you're such a natural on it. So how can people watch your show Morning Coffee on RVN TV?
It's a variety show, so we talk to all different folks. It's on RVN TV from 8 o'clock until 9 o'clock a.m. every Wednesday morning with Mark.
And you can go to rvntv.tv.
Right. Yes.
And look up Morning Coffee.
Exactly. And the rest of the time, if any of the viewers or listeners need to explore their own presence, then they are free to catch up with me at talkwithcoachlisa.com, and I can introduce them to the Presence Intelligence Alignment Inventory, which is stress-free, private, actually a lot of fun, but full of information.
So, Lisa, is that the best way to get in touch with you?
Yes, talkwithcoachlisa.com.
Excellent. Well, my friend, it's the end of another It's All About Dating show, and I'm so glad that you were here with me. So what final words would you like to leave our audience with today?
How about be the chooser, from my old lessons. That's all of us, be the chooser. That's
I love that. That's a really good one. Well, thank you so much for being here, Lisa. I will be backstage in just a moment. I really appreciate you and your friendship, and I'm glad that you were here with me.
Super. Me too.
All right. Thank you.
See ya.
Bye. And to everyone out there, I want to thank you for your loyalty, for watching, for listening. We love to have our audience be engaged with us, and we want to bring you content that's relevant. So if you have any ideas for a show, or you want to be a guest or a sponsor, please go to drjacalyn.com. And I promise you that we will get back to you. We have some exciting shows coming up. Tomorrow we have 2 shows. One is at 5 o'clock. It's Stories of Hope, Inspiration, and Overcoming Adversity. And one at 6 o'clock is the Variety Show. We also have 2 new shows that we're launching next week. Yay, so excited. The one is Conversations of Substance with Alex Kaplan. And the other is with Amina. She is a pet psychic. So stay tuned for those shows. 12 o'clock Eastern Time Wednesday for Conversations of Substance, and 3:30 Eastern Time on Friday for Amina, the pet psychic. Thank you again for being with us. And if you are interested in being a sponsor, we do have more programming coming up, as I mentioned. So we'd love to have you join us. Again, go to drjacalyn.com. There's a contact us section, and we'll be happy to speak with you. Take care. We'll see you next time, hopefully tomorrow.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting. I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.